Howdy, Aggie Land. Welcome back to another episode of Home Turf Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Gaspard, and with me today is a sports writer, Cade Harris. This is his first time on the show. We'll introduce him in a bit after the intro, but welcome back. All right, just a reminder, this episode is brought to you by RideHitch.com. It's like Uber, but for longer distances. Use code AggieNews3 for 30% off your first 4 rides, up to $50 each ride. Ride Hitch is pretty sick. It's, if you're going on vacation one weekend and you're trying to make a little extra money while you're going there, pick someone up, be a good Aggie. All right, welcome back, listeners. We've been gone for about 2 weeks. One weekend I was in Alabama watching a great game but devastating loss, and then the next weekend I got COVID, and COVID kind of spread a little bit around the battalion, so I kept having to push back these podcasts, and I kept promising Cade and someone else, Casey, but she couldn't be here, but we're going to get her on another week, that we will record a podcast soon. So we're here. We're finally doing it now. What's up, Cade?
Nothing much. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm glad you could make it.
Yep, glad to be here.
So why don't you tell listeners a little bit about yourself, what brought you to the battalion, what do you enjoy doing, what's your major, all that good stuff. So what's up?
Yeah, so I am majoring in journalism right now with a minor in communications and sports management. Obviously want to get in sports media here, joining the battalion. And I transferred into A&M. This is my first semester here. I am a junior. My freshman year, I went to Howard Payne University in Brownwood, Texas. I played baseball there. It's a small Division III school about an hour south of Abilene. And then I knew I was going to come here, leaving Howard Payne, and switching my major to journalism because they didn't have it there. That's part of the reason why I left. And I went to Dallas College, Richland campus, for my sophomore year, just to get my credits out of the way. And now here I am, and then hobbies, obviously like watching sports, playing them as well. I love video games as well and watching Netflix and
all that good stuff. That's cool. So journalism is something you had your mind set on
for sure
for a while, and you came to a good place for that, especially coming and joining the battalion. We have loved you here. You've been writing a lot of great pieces. Y'all need to check out Cade Harris's stuff anytime he posts it. Some really good work. Especially one of the top sports desks in the country. I got to brag on the battalion for a little bit. I just got back from Washington, D.C. this past weekend, where they had this award ceremonies with all the college newspapers and stuff like that. And for like the 7th, 8th, 9th year in a row, the battalion won the best sports desk in the nation.
Nice.
So, bravo. Yeah, thank you. Dude, this new little setup is sick. I'm loving it. All right, so what we usually do on these podcasts, we talk about some fun stuff for a little bit. So you had, let's say, big sporting events. Give me your top 3, your Mount Rushmore of sport events. Sports holidays.
Okay.
Go.
So, number 1. I'm obviously a baseball fan. I got to give it to the World Series.
World Series.
That's kind of a hot take just because, baseball is not loved by many, but I do love the World Series. And then number 2 is, everyone's favorite, March Madness.
100%.
Everyone loves March Madness, all the upsets. And then number 3, I'd probably give it to the Super Bowl just because of it just being such a classic game. And then you kind of mentioned holidays, but I love watching NBA on Christmas.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So you have any teams in the World Series right now?
Sadly, no. I am a Texas Rangers fan.
Oh, so you won't be able to watch them for a while, man.
Yeah.
No. That's just me. Hey, I
got my years in 2010 and 2011.
Yeah.
Even though we choked in 2011, but
I'm not gonna. That was a fun team. I mean, who you had Josh Hamilton,
Adrian Beltre,
Nelson Cruz, Ian Kinsler. That was a tough
Elvis Andrews.
Team. That was a great team. I'm not even gonna. I've always been an Astros fan ever since Berkman played. But watching that team growing up, that was really cool. That was cool. In Little League, we made these little player cards where you would put like it had all your stats and like your favorite player. And I always did Berkman. And that one year, I had Josh Hamilton as my favorite. And my dad literally was Period. Like he was so mad, and I was just like, dude, he's good. Like that was a fun team to watch. But maybe y'all might be on the come up. Y'all got some money to spend, see what y'all can do.
Mhm.
So to me, you have your Christmases, Thanksgivings, your Valentine's Day. March Madness is a holiday in my book. That's probably one of my favorite basketball seasons coming along. You've heard me in the newsroom earlier. I'm so excited for basketball season. So March Madness is obviously my number one. World Series, it didn't make the list, but I enjoy watching it because you have all your average baseball fans who don't really keep up with the regular season, but when postseason comes, they're watching it. So I'll give the World Series its love, but it's not my top. It's obviously probably, Super Bowl 2, March Madness 1, and then number 3, probably got to make the list. Probably the Masters.
Yep, that's a good one.
Because I never really know who's in it, but I always catch myself watching it. But yeah, those are probably my 3, and then Thanksgiving football, because Cowboys play on every Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, period. But yeah, because I get to this is the only day of the year where I get to eat multiple plates and not get judged. So I got my entrees on one plate, my sides on the other, and then I get a third plate with desserts. Watch the Cowboys, and I take the best nap of the year. That's obviously number one. Mm-hmm. But I was always wondering what your favorite sport holidays were, man. That's nice to get to know. All right, so let's get into it. Hey, just a reminder, this is the Home Turf Podcast where Aggie students talk about Aggie sports. It's about Aggies by Aggies. This is the only place in the country where you can find that. You know, you might have you got your other ones like Texas, but those are grown men, not Aggie students, talking about Aggie sports. This is where you get to hear about Aggie sports from the Aggie students who are enrolled right now. And it's sick. I love it. It's the only podcast. There might be some kids in their mom's basements doing it, but, this is the one official one by a newspaper, and we're about to get into it. So first off, we're going to talk about, like I said earlier, basketball season's on the way. Before we get into football, let's talk about basketball a little bit. So, team coming off a pretty great end of the basketball season, especially in the SEC tournament. They got on a little hot run. Near the end of the year, they got a little hot, and then they went in the NIT and made it all the way to the concrete jungle before they lost to Xavier, which is a really talented team. However, that was a great team, and a lot of returners are coming back. Overall, what are you thinking about this basketball season so far?
Oh, I'm excited for sure. I've probably never been more excited for an A&M basketball season than I am this year.
Yeah.
Slightly due to the way the performance of the football team is, and just because I think Buzz is going to have a good team this year. Only losing Quentin Jackson, and then you of course you had the 2 transfers in Hassan Diarra and Aaron Cash, but Quentin Jackson that's going to be hard to replace, but he got some studs out of the portal, I think. Yeah. I'm hoping. And then, hopefully the 2 kids he had signed in this freshman class do good as well. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about those players. So a couple of names I'm hearing bounce around is this guard out of Wichita State. And who is
Dexter Dennis.
Dexter Dennis.
Yeah, I haven't watched much film on him, or really any. But everything that I've heard, it sounds like he's going to be a good player. The one thing I do know about him, and when we did get his commitment, I saw a tweet floating around Twitter, and it was just a video of him after one of the Wichita State's game, just picking up trash in the arena, and it was like, that's a Buzz kid, Yeah,
no, that's really good to hear. Man, I just got goosebumps from that. That's the type of kids you need on your team. That makes sense why Buzz went out there. Another player, I follow a couple, especially this season, because I'm working with the student media polls. I'm making my own top 25, which I'll talk about sometimes in the coming weeks. And there's not many lists where Texas A&M in the top 25, but besides this one guy, Rothenstein or something like that, and he's one of the few analysts I actually pay attention to because he knows his stuff. Had Texas A&M in his top 25 at 24 actually for this season, especially with all the returners we have. Like Henry Coleman's back, Boots is back. Those are some of the big main pieces. Hayne Hefner's back, who's supposed to step up and get more minutes this year, play a huge role. And going back to transfers, this one transfer that we got from Michigan State.
Julius Marble.
Yeah. Kid's a stud. I was looking at their team picture, and look at this. Julius Marble has a sick mustache. Do you
Oh
see
my
that?
Yeah, I've seen him actually walking around campus a couple times, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've noticed that it is pretty cool.
It kind of just catches you off guard. You're looking at his team. I was like, okay, he's some pretty big guys. We're going to look pretty good. Then you get to 34. After you pass number 32, looks like he should be playing football. And 34, you got a crazy mustache. But nah, actually, though, I ran into Julius Marble at Northgate. I went with some friends, and then I ran into him. And a buddy of mine told me he played basketball, and I was talking to him. Yeah, so he's a transfer from Michigan State. And one thing that's all you need to know is that, one, he's from Michigan State. He was recruited by Coach Izzo, and anyone that Coach Izzo recruits is obviously a good basketball player. I asked him why he wanted to come back here to Texas A&M, and for one, he's from Dallas, Texas. So he wanted to move back, get closer to home. Another reason I think he came back is because, yeah, he didn't really get the minutes I think he deserved. So we're definitely getting some big bodies in the paint this year. We got, I like how you're talking about a lot of returners such as, Henry Coleman, Boots, Hefner, Aaron Cash is gone. But do you ever get mixed up between him and Henderson?
Aaron Cash.
Aaron Cash and Henderson.
Yeah, just because they both got zeros in their number too.
Yeah. And they have similar playing styles, and they literally look the same to me. Every time they come in, I'm like, whoa, when did Cash come in the game? And then you got Henderson. So we still got Henderson. A lot of returners, so I can see why, it's caught, especially in the tournament. Young talent, Arkansas is one of the top teams this year, so they're gonna have a great season. But when it comes to the basketball tournament, hopefully they make the NCAA tournament. That we're gonna be a problem this year. Mm-hmm. Who's some of the freshmen and other transfers that you have seen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, first off, freshman Solomon Washington. He's from New Orleans, and he won Gatorade Player of the Year last year in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, he was the number one player out of Louisiana.
And I liked him also because when he committed, I went to his Twitter bio and it said 5-star stopper, and I was like, hey, I'll take that. Defensive player, defensive stud, and also if we can use him offensively, hopefully he can knock down some shots for us today.
Yeah, I went to go look, and he had went to go look at his stats in high school, and dude was averaging a triple double in points, rebounds, and not assists, steals.
Wow.
Dude's a lockdown defender, and especially when we play teams like we play in Kentucky this season, we play Arkansas twice, which Arkansas is supposed to be a top 10 team in the country, have a lot of 5-star recruits, so we're going to need a 5-star stopper. And he's going to be a huge piece. A couple other guys, I wrote an article a while back about some of the transfers we got early on in the year after the season was over. Eric Pratt's one of these transfers who can shoot. Another great shootout outside the three-point line, similar to Hayden Hefner, great shooter. And there's a couple other guys too. It's going to be a good season. A lot of returners, a lot of fresh new faces. I'm excited. Supposedly they had a game against Baylor?
Yes, they scrimmaged on Saturday. It looks like the pictures that Baylor posted on their Twitter. I don't know what the final score was. I know that we did not win, but it was a close game from what I've heard.
Really?
And Baylor, number 5 in the AP poll. So hey, I'll take that. They've got high expectations this year.
Yeah, a team that's supposed to win the Big 12, defeat Kansas, has this kid named Keontae George, a freshman who's a stud. And, yeah, like you said, it's a close game. Mm-hmm. And that should be good news to hear about this basketball team. I'm real excited to watch them play. So the schedule just released for men's basketball. Is there any games in particular that catch your eye?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, starting out of conference, it kind of starts off light, which I like. Get your warm up games in. You go to your tournament. But later on, kind of towards the end of non-conference, I really like that matchup going to Memphis on December 17th. I think that'll be a good game. High expectations for Penny Hardaway there. Maybe even be on the hot seat there. But they'll be playing at the FedEx Forum. That's where Memphis plays their home games, and then obviously where the Grizzlies play as well. So yeah, another good chance for those players to get a chance to play at an NBA court.
Yeah, we have a couple Big East teams too. It's not the best Big East teams, but you have DePaul, which DePaul has always been a pretty decent basketball school. It's a whole lot different from our non-conference schedule last season. Last season, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm excited to see. Let's see. I'm ready to go watch some good players, some good athletes play, and we really just played a bunch of no names. Like, let's hold on. Yeah, so like some of these teams we played last year. I mean, yeah, TCU's an all right team. We played Dallas Christian, UCA, New Orleans. I mean, that invitational was. I mean, we were beating Wisconsin that whole game until the end when Johnny Davis just took off. That kid's a stud. Played Butler, who's a pretty good team, and Notre Dame, who they ended up making the turn. They're one of the teams.
Us, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the teams that got in. Yeah, that's what. So like when the whole thing came out when we didn't make it, I saw Notre Dame did. The first thing I did was went back to this game, screenshot it, sent it in. I was like, what the heck? What's this? But yeah, we played teams like HBU, Corpus Christi, North Florida. And this time, our non-conference games are pretty legit. We played, and one of the games that I've been looking out that I'm ready to watch is, yeah, we played Northwestern State last year. We play them again this year, except they got one of the best kids in the country, in my opinion. Hansel Emmanuel, he's in all the Gatorade commercials. He's handing dudes buckets in the Drew League, and he has one arm, which that doesn't hold him back. Like, you might think, like, yeah, make them go left. No, this kid will literally work you, drive you to the basket, or pop out and shoot the three. He's a stud, and A&M plays them on December 27th in Kyle Field. I'm not Kyle Field, Reed Arena. I'm still trying to get used to this basketball transition. But, yeah, we have a lot of good games. I mean, SMU's going to be pretty good. Boise State last year was their best basketball team in a long time. I don't know how many returners they got this year, but that should be a pretty good game. I like the Memphis game. Warford is a good basketball school. And then we have the Myrtle Beach Invitational. And what teams are in that?
Yeah, so I have the bracket pulled up right now. We'll be starting out playing Murray State, and then we'll play either the winner or the loser, depending on how we do, of Colorado against UMass.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the bracket, you got
Colorado.
Yeah, probably. And then on the other side of the bracket, you got Boise State playing Charlotte, and then Loyola Chicago versus Tulsa.
Loyola Chicago in that tournament? Wow.
Yes.
That's a big tournament team right there, and that would be great if they win now and get to play them. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty interesting tournament. All starts November 13th, dude. Basketball's back, dude. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. So we have A&M Kingsville this Friday, and then the seasons. That was just an expedition game, free admission, and then A&M plays UL Monroe Monday, and that's when college basketball starts. And I'm excited. ACU's a good team.
Yep, had to beat them buzzer beater last year.
Yeah,
Hassan Diarra hit that three.
Yeah, they took down Texas in the first round this past season, huh? And the season before, I think it was one of those seasons.
It was 2 years ago. They knocked down Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad team right there. And then got SEC play. A lot of teams to look out for right now. I mean, this dude, I wrote it down in my notes. G.G. Jackson. Like every team's gonna be pretty decent this year. You got Florida with a lot of returners like Colin Castleton, that tall white guy who's pretty good. LSU, I don't know. They got in some trouble with the FBL last year. I don't know how everything's going there.
Yeah.
But yeah, South Carolina, G.G. Jackson, he's a freshman, pretty good. Kentucky in Kentucky.
Yeah, they got Oscar Shibwe coming back too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
that'll be tough.
And then Arkansas is supposed to be one of the top teams. Tennessee's always good. Bama and Ole Miss. Don't sleep on Ole Miss this season. There's this kid from my hometown. Yeah, Ole Miss has this point guard freshman. He played with Bronny James. His name's Amari Abram, one of the most locked down point guards. They have two really solid guards there. So this SEC basketball is not going to be a joke this year. In my top 25, the most teams out of my top 25 are SEC teams. Usually you think you have like Big 12, the Big East as like kind of running the ACC.
Big 10.
Yeah, Big 10. Like usually those are like have more of the basketball teams.
Right.
The SEC is that conference this season.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun to watch. Any final notes on basketball overall?
No, I think we've hit pretty much all of it so far. Just excited. I might be going to the exhibition on Friday, but I'll definitely be at the opener on Monday. I'm very excited.
100%. Yeah, and for sure the battalion's going to be covering it all year. I'm kind of a beat writer for basketball, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, Grant_Gaspard, I'll be following them along all season. Hopefully they can make the tournament this year, and we'll see if they live up to the kind of, I'm not going to say they're getting overhyped this year. I think they're getting the hype that they deserve, and we'll see how they handle it, throughout non-conference and when the SEC comes to play. All right, so with this last 10 minutes, we're going to kind of talk about football. So football season's still going on. It's not over yet. We can't just forget about it. We need to keep covering this. So A&M lost 31-28 at home against Ole Miss this past Saturday. What are your first thoughts, overview, everything? You were at the game. How was the atmosphere of the game?
I thought the atmosphere was good. I have seen it better, but obviously just the way the team's performing, it is hard to get as excited in the atmosphere. But 101,000. I mean, obviously it's gonna be
Really?
Kyle Field. Everyone's gonna be hyped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
So the hype was there before the game.
No.
Really?
Yeah, just before the game, it just didn't feel the same at all. I came to Alabama last year, and the buzz was just crazy. And even for Mississippi State last year, we had just lost, but the buzz was still good around the stadium. And it's disappointing because this was your conference home opener, and the buzz wasn't there. I mean, partly maybe could due to the weather. It was pretty chilly and it was very gloomy outside before the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
And
I mean, everyone still showed up. That's a good sign. I mean, I don't blame them though, coming off a loss to South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's got to be rough. But then you have all this talk about like Lane Kiffin coming in here talking trash on Jimbo, and then during the game cussing out his players. Which press conference today, Jimbo was asked about it and he had no comment, which kind of makes me upset. As in like you have another coach on the other team talking down on your players. Like what does that tell you? What do you think about that?
Well, for one, I think it tells you everything you need to know about Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And then two, I think Jimbo would have said something if we would have won the game, but I think just because we had lost, I think he just wanted to stay on the down low because I mean Lane's been talking all of this, and kind of referring back to what Jimbo had said to Saban. That's what he was kind of bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jimbo was kind of like just leave it. Let the SEC offices deal with it. You could tell when they asked him the question that he was frustrated about it. I would have been fine either way. I'm not too disappointed with no comment, but
I think all the players, like I agree with what you're saying. If they won, he could have said something, but like I think the players handled it well. Like Albert, he basically just said he just blocked him out, ignored it. Kind of called him unprofessional a little, which it was unprofessional, but he had to game the play, and that guy had to game the coach, and I respect them moving on from it because we don't need any more. A&M football program does not need any more, backlash, any more, like, media on them and all that. So, player performances. Freshman star Connor Wigman finally gets a start, and he put on a show.
Yes, he did.
28 for 44, 338 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's a beautiful stat that I haven't seen all season from our quarterbacks, and it looks sexy. Mm-hmm. It looks I like how it looks. He put on his show. He looked very good. Sucks he couldn't get the win in his first start. Probably some problems with our run defense in particular and some of the big third down conversions we gave up. That's on the opposite end though, but however, I think our offense performed well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they did perform well, coming out, and especially after Ole Miss, they first drive, go down there and they scored, and I just loved the way Connor came out there. He was relaxed. He made some great passes, and first 2 drives he scored, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm not sure what happened second, third quarter. We left a lot of points on the field, I think, but overall I was just really impressed by Connor Wigman and Evan Stewart.
Dude, that snag.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah, and just to see him go out there confident, first start at home at night in an SEC game, and he went out there and balled out, and he threw 2 touchdown passes to 2 different true freshmen. And that's what gives you hope.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the kind of things that give you hope for next season, and that's something I talked about on my last podcast, which was 3 weeks ago. Because like at this point, our season's done. We can go win out and get a cool little toilet bowl game. However, it's time to start looking in the next season, start getting them younger guys, some freshmen that are going to be here next season, some more reps, because you got guys, a lot of talks about transfer and all that. Throw in Connor Wigman. Like, show these receivers what we could have next season. And I think Connor Wigman did a good performance in that. Like next year with Moose Muhammad back, Evan Stewart back, if everyone decides to stay back, it could be something really special. And it's time to start, getting your fans hope for next season. And I think they really showed that. Someone on like the freshman side, Jordan Matthews played all right. Bryce Anderson played really good. I think defensively he did. Start getting those young guys, start getting them in there, start getting them playing time, because it's time to start looking for next year, getting them some experience, some SEC game situations, and let them play. And it was a really good performance. McKinley Jackson's back, and he led the team in tackles with 12. Had a sack, another tackle, 1.5 tackle for loss. He played really good. It was a good game. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to win, but they played close, so my hopes kind of got up that they pulled through, and they didn't. But overall, what are your final thoughts on this game?
Yeah, just final thoughts is, just a little disappointed. Didn't expect to win, but overall, just the hope. That's what it gave me.
Yeah.
Hope, and I hate saying it for next year, but I mean that's just the truth. Seasons, it's pretty much done for. Getting your freshmen out there, like you said, and just seeing them do good, and that's.
So, what are your thoughts about the future of this team?
Well, I think first off, I don't think Jimbo should be calling plays next year.
Yeah.
I do think we need to bring in an offensive coordinator, and I think that was apparent. Like I said, in the second and third quarters, I feel like Jimbo's play calling kind of held us back a little bit. I mean, for one example that stuck out to me was we were up 14-7, and we're driving, and we have a 4th and 3, and we just do this swing pass out to the side to Evan Stewart that just went nowhere, and I'm like, that's just such a typical Jimbo play.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we could be doing so much better with, like, A-Chain. He was running crazy, and we only scored 28 points. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, like A-Chain had 138 yards. We had 338 yards in the air, like multiple receivers getting multiple touchdowns. Donovan Green getting a little bit more involved. If you listen to my past podcasts, I nonstop talk about him. And I love watching these freshmen get involved. Just we didn't score as many points as the stats showed, and just like it could have. I don't know. I feel like that was a game we could have won, but we didn't stop the run. They had a guy run for 205 yards. Their quarterback run for almost 100 yards. There were so many third down situations, and we just let him get loose on so many plays, and that's just a whole nother thing. They need to go back and look and make adjustments on the defensive side, because the offense seems to kind of figure out their style, But yeah, that's all the time we have for today. This was one of our shorter podcasts. Usually I would love to have sat here and talked to you for an hour, but I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah,
man.
No problem. Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope to be on it again.
Oh yeah, you will for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, for all coverage for football, basketball season coming up, check out the Battalion. We'll be covering all aspects of it throughout the whole season. Everything here. Please come back to this podcast. I enjoy having y'all on. And just a reminder, this is the podcast about Aggie students, by Aggie students, the only one in the country that has a podcast like this. And I appreciate y'all coming on. Thank you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, and I'll see y'all next week.